Hey, hello everybody, welcome back to one more Tom Clancy's Division 2 video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the PTS Phase 2 that's been implemented. This is the second week, and there is a couple changes. There is a patch notice effect. I'm going to leave that in the description down below. You guys can go over all of that because it's kind of a lot. If I put it in one video, that's going to be a long ass video. So what I'm gonna do is just tackle some of what stood up to me and some stuff that I can show you guys right here on the PTS. Right, by the way, if you guys can hear in the background the noises of the game, that's bugged on the PTS. So yeah, just to let you guys know that. So it's gonna be like a little bit of a noise bug in the background. So let's start off, I think maybe with the stash. So the stash, they said it's gonna be more stash increase, because last time I checked the stash, it was only, oh, I got it, 300. So last time I checked, which was last week, it was only 150, and now they increased the stash to 300. But they said, if I'm not mistaken, there is a way that you have to unlock it by perks. So on the patch note, they say increase stash space by 150 slots, and then the player starts with 200 and can be upgraded to 300 slots total through the perks. So I believe you're gonna start with 200, right? But because I have it upgraded already, so you should be able to just find 300 as soon as you log in title update 6. So that's how it works, for what I know. But that is a good change. We needed that because the amount of gear we have in this game, we do need that, right? So moving on. Now, one of the most talked about on this patch, the Wave 2, it's because of the guns that got buffed, right? We had a huge amount of guns that got buffed. It's a total of 45 guns that got changed, some buffs, some nerfs, but it's a total of 45 guns, right? So we're gonna take a look at that, and we're gonna take a look also on that talent that's not stacking, right? Before the guns, let's talk about the talents. So on this build, right, I supposed to have a 99% damage to elite from, before this patch, before this PTS on my normal game, right? On this PTS, by the way, we're going to talk about the stats also in the way. If you go on the stats, if you can see that the stats are a little bit different now, because it gives you a better representation of what you have and where you're getting that from, right? Let's, for example, show you one of the talents, right? So this talent right here, accurate, it's telling you that you're getting that from your P416, which is mine in this case. Nemesis, of course, from Nemesis. Cross and personal from my double barrel shot off. For example, if you go down to right here, 42% assault rifle damage, I'm getting that from my gloves, from my mods, and from my brand set, which they say gear set, but it's supposed to be brand set in here. So that is a total of 42%. Same goes for the all weapon damage, but you guys get an idea. The stats is looking a lot better. It represents a lot better where you're getting stuff and how you're getting it, right? So with that said, now let's go for what we're saying, which is the damage to elite. So on the PTS right here, is saying I have 84% damage to elite. On the same build before the PTS on my normal game right now, I have 99% damage to elite. And it's coming from my mask, that 42%. It's coming from my gun mods, which is 5% each. That's going to be a total of 10. Adding to that is 52%. And then we have the talent. We're going to be taking a look at that in a second. And then we have that 7% that's coming from our brand set, the Budget Tough, right? So 59 without the talents. Now, let's go take a look at the talents. So we're going to start on the mask. We have the hard hitting that got changed. Hard hitting got a buff from 10% to 25%, but now it's a unique talent, which means this talent does not stack. So like in my case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them on this build, but it's only counting one of them towards my total damage to elite, because I already said I have a total of 59% damage to elite plus one of these, which is 25. So 59 plus 25 is going to be 84% damage to elite. I don't know how I feel about that. A lot of people are pissed about it already. I don't agree with that. I don't agree that they should not be stacking. I think they should leave it the way it was. That's too much of a change. We did not ask for this. I don't know the reason behind it, why they changing it, if there's a reason so for some type of balancing. But I don't know, man. There's a lot of people who put a lot of hours into this game and already have like so much of loot, and now they're gonna have to basically, you know, go and farm for everything else. So I don't know how I felt about that. I do understand how people are getting pissed about it. I just don't know why the devs are doing that. So, but anyways, this is a PTS, right? It doesn't mean this is gonna make it to the final, you know, update for the title update 6. Like I said, this is a PTS public test server. That's why we are here, to give the feedback to the devs. That way they can change it. Let's move on. Another thing that I want to talk about, which is the gun nerfs and buffs. So we're gonna start with the the start of the show, which is besides the exotic assault rifles, which is the exotic Eagle Bearer, the P416 was, or still is, the best assault rifle in the game, right? So for that reason, the P416 is getting a hit of a damage nerf of 5%. I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, they are bringing the Eagle Bearer down on the damage also, so it might be good, it might not be. It's gonna be a test to see if that's gonna work or not, but we'll see. The M4, the police M4, which I have one right here, it's getting a damage buff of 10%. I mean, the M4 is one of the most loved guns of Division 1. Not the police M4 version, but the lightweight M4. It was one of the lovest gun of the Division 1, but now on the Division 2 is only the police M4, and was kind of weak. But now maybe with this buff, 10% buff on the damage, with that 850 RPM, maybe now it can compete to be one of the best assault rifles in the game. So I'm happy for that. The Carbine 7 got a buff also, is the new assault rifle. Nobody actually uses it because it came out already weak, and it got a buff of 8% damage increase. The G36 got a buff also. I got a 3% damage increase, only 3%, but it says less damage drop off past optimal range. So that's good. That means it's not gonna lose that damage from far. And then we have the CTAR that got also a damage buff of 8%. The CTAR has been one of the best guns after the P416, I believe. So it got a little bit of a buff. Maybe now it can compete because it has a higher RPM, really high RPM. The damage is going to be a little bit lower compared to the police M4. So I believe it's going to be in between these two, if this makes it to the actual game, right? And then other than that, we have some other guns, assault rifles that got some buffs. So that's it for the assault rifles. Now moving down, I want to talk about the SMGs. SMGs got some buffs and nerfs, and let's talk about the first one, which is the MPX. So if you guys don't know, the MPX was basically the house from the Division 1. It's basically the same gun, so maybe it's making a comeback, because right now on the PTS patch notes of Wave 2 is saying it's getting a buff of 38% damage increase. So that's how much damage it has right now, 16.2. And on the actual game right now, before the patch, I have a MPX that's only hitting for 13k. So I'm getting basically 3k damage increase on my MPX. I mean, I don't know if that's super strong, but let's see when it drops, if it drops, how strong is that gonna be. The T821 got actually a nerf of 8% damage decrease. And then we have the MP5 that got a buff of 13% damage increase. We have the SMG 9 that got a buff of 6% damage increase. And let's talk about the Vector. So the Vector has been up and down. Before it was the meta at one point, and then they nerfed it, and now they're gonna buff it again, right? So Tactical Vector SBR is getting a buff of 21%. And then we have this version right here, which is the Vector SBR 9mm. This one is getting a buff of 17% damage increase. And then we have the third version, which is the Vector .45 ASAP, that's getting a buff of 25% damage increase. I think this one was the best one because it has a larger magazine, and it's been my favorite. And I don't know about the other ones, so I don't have one of them to compare. But yeah, that's a huge buff they're getting. Keep in mind, at one point they were the meta, so maybe they might have a chance of coming back to the meta, but who knows, because every other gun got a buff also. And then we have a couple other guns that got some buff. I'm gonna leave that for you guys to go on the patch notes. I'm gonna leave that in the comment section below if you guys want to take a look at that. I cannot go over everything, it's gonna be too long of a video, so I want to move down to the LMGs. So the famous M60 is actually getting a nerf. The nerf is going to be a 10% damage decrease for the LMG M60, and the second LMG, the M249, also is getting a nerf of minus 4% damage decrease. So those two LMGs were at one point the meta. They are the strongest LMGs and one of the strongest guns in the game. They're getting a nerf, so we'll see about that. And then the other LMGs, every other LMG is getting a buff besides the MG5. The MG5 is not getting any change, so we only have nerf for the two top LMGs and then some buffs for the other ones. For the snipers, surprisingly, they're getting a buff. The M700 Tactical is getting a buff of 19% damage increase. And then we have the M700 Carbon that's getting also a 19% damage increase. So every sniper basically it's getting a buff. Actually, besides the SVD, all the other sniper, the Action Bolt sniper are getting a buff. So real quick, we'll move on for the rifles. So the rifles also, there is a lot of buffs in it. Surprisingly, this gun, which was the worst gun in the game, I don't think anybody used this gun, the M16. Apparently now it's getting a buff. So this gun, this one, the specific one right now in the game, like outside of the PTS that I have it right now, this gun is hitting for 14.8k damage, and now on the PTS is hitting for 24.9k. That's basically 10.1k damage increase. 10k damage increase. Can you hear that? So that's gonna be that much damage, and that's a 68% damage increase. That's saying on the patch notes. So yeah, maybe finally people are gonna start using it. I don't know how I feel about that, because I never used this gun. I mean, I tried it right in the beginning and then never used it again. So we'll see if that's gonna make it like a viable gun again. So who knows. Now moving on, guys, like I said, I don't want to make this video for everything what's in the PTS, because the video is going to be way too long. I'm going to leave them down again in the description below if you want to go over them. But I want to point out the holster talents that we all been using, right, for the exotic rifles. So we're going to pick up, actually, let me pick up my Merciless real quick. So the Nemesis talent, holster talent now got a nerf, right? So it says right here on the patch note, while holster gained 15% down from 25% headshot damage when scoped with your current weapon, and it says the PvP version remains unchanged at 10%. So this is basically changing only for PvE. That's the Nemesis. And then moving down for the chatterbox, it got also a nerf on the holster talent, which it says while holstered, reloading your weapon within 5 seconds after a kill grants 15% down from 20 rate of fire for 10 seconds. So it basically lost a 5% rate of fire. I don't know, maybe that's not a lot of a deal. People still gonna use it. That's basically why the chatterbox has been in the game. Everybody uses it as a holster talent, but yeah. And then we have the Merciless, which basically got a buff. So the Merciless now says while holstered, landing a shot has 5% chance to deal 100% up from 20%. That was way too low. So 100% now. Damage as explosive damage. So the chance is going to be the same, which is 5%, but now it's going to hit harder if it hits. That's good. Maybe it will be back in the game as a holster talent. Who knows? Because of right now, nobody uses it because it's not really that, useful. And yeah, oh, before I go, there's one thing I forgot to show you guys. If I go on my weapons, if I go on options right here, now you can show your base damage, right? By the way, this got changed a little bit. The way it represents your options is changed a little bit. It's the same thing but changed a little bit. And then we have show damage, base damage. I don't think this was in the actual game right now. I've never seen it. If it's there, let me know in the comment section below. But if you toggle that on, you go on the weapon, it'll show you the base damage and how much damage that you're getting from your build. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. If you guys didn't know that, that's another thing that I seen, another changes. And yeah, so I'm gonna leave the video in here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys want to see more in this PTS. Let me know what you guys are interested, if you guys agree or disagree with the buffs. And yeah, let me know your concerns, everything that you want to say in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit me with a like, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.